After that, a profile of Dennis Quaid, who's in the new movie Great Balls of Fire. Also, the killer himself, Jerry Lee Lewis, will be in that half-hour special. But right now, it's time for the premiere of a different kind of MTV profile, profiling The Cure in our MTV Rockumentary. The Cure started out in the late 70s as the British post-punk group and grew to become, I guess, one of the more prominent postmodern bands of the 80s. They're coming to the States for a tour once again, and they're saying this time around, this will be the absolute last Cure tour. You might remember, though, 1987's Head on the Door tour was also announced as their last one, so just goes to show. Maybe we'll find out more about that tour as we take a look at our Cure Rockumentary.
The biggest difference between this one and the Kiss Me album was supposed to be almost like a retrospective in a way, even though there was a lot of new stuff on it. The fact that it was a double album allowed us a lot of time to look back on different aspects of what The Cure had done, whereas the new one is it's very particular, has a very particular sound, has a very definite mood to it. The Kiss Me album is a bit more sort of kaleidoscopic really, and this one's very much a sort of a downbeat album, you know. It's very old style Cure, really, the mood. It was more of a mixture on Kiss Me, that was sort of loads of different styles of songs. On this one it's more a theme running through it, if you like. The way it worked on the last record and this one is that everyone's expected to turn up at this sort of pre-album meeting, which you usually have for about a week, which is basically us drinking for 5 days, and then we pluck up courage to play our tapes to each other. You know, so, well, I mean, I don't get embarrassed, but I think the others do, because it's a new thing for them. And it's really weird laying yourself open like that, you know, and everyone sort of go, oh no, you know, but there's like an unwritten code that you don't laugh, you know, even if you want to. That was broken a couple of times in this record, I must admit. Everyone plays their demos, and we just we give them points. You know, it's a very, in that sense, it's a very democratic process, and we just add up the points at the end, and the songs with the highest points go on to the next stage, which is like us playing them, demoing them, seeing what they feel like. If there's anything in particular that I think has been left out and should be used, it's the only time when I can use my sort of power of veto and include it. But it's again, if it's going to be a group, you know, everyone's got to be pretty happy with what we're going to play. It'd be pointless otherwise. It's just like session players. Yeah, I know who you remind me of, a girl I think I used to know. Yeah, I see you when the days got colder, on those days when it felt like snow. Now I even think that she stared like you. She used to just stand there and stare, and roll her eyes right up to heaven, and make like I just wasn't there. And she used to fall down a lot. That girl was always falling again and again, and I used to sometimes try to catch her, but never even caught her name. We never go in anywhere and say we're going to do this. It always just ends up being something. But usually there's like a key song or something that motivates me to say to the others, right, it's about time we thought about doing something. And it works from that point, and we gradually build up. With this record, I had an idea of what I wanted, and I presented that to the others, and it then gets like mutated and comes out the other end after a pretty protracted process into what ends up on the shelves as a record. Knowing myself, knowing how I am, it's inevitable that we'd end up, whatever we do is going to take longer and longer. And it's not, as I used to think, I still complain and I'm horrified by groups that take months and months and months to make a record. I think it's a real waste, it's a waste of time. And when we actually are doing something, it's quite spontaneous and quite fast, but it is, like you say, it's the production process afterwards, which is, I'm always trying to get it to sound better than the one before. And also, as everything sort of escalates, what people expect has become a lot higher. Their level of people's level of awareness, I think, with what is on a record has gone up since we started. I mean, we used, like 17 Seconds took sort of 14 days from walking in the studio and walking out with a finished thing. And this one took in real time probably 2 months, and in unreal time took about 5. But I mean, if that's what I'm saying. I mean, if those 5 months could be condensed down into 2, if we wanted to spend every day doing something, and those 2 months could be condensed down to a week probably of actually doing something rather than messing about and talking to each other.
Is there any sort of like element of the Cure that makes it more than the sum of its parts? You know, is there something that's the Cure when you're not in the Cure you don't have?
Robert, I suppose, really.
Is he the sort of the catalyst then?
Yeah. Oh, definitely, yeah.
Yeah. What's he like? How do you work with him in that way? Is he the boss?
Yeah. Yeah, but I mean, saying that...
Is he listening? Yeah.
It's saying, is he the boss? It sounds like in a horrible way, but it's not in that, like, someone's got to take a decision, you know? So we can't all say, well, let's do this, and someone else said, well, let's do that, you know? Someone's got to take an executive, like, decision on something, and it is Robert. So, and we go along with that, and it works like that.
Because we're lazy and we like him doing all the work.
We used to maintain, I suppose, a public front of democracy and also try and maintain an interior sort of democracy within the group. And it never really worked because there was always a lot of confusion about, and I would always constantly be having to remember that I couldn't take a decision on my own. And that sort of whole style of running the group by committee, it slowed everything down. It made everything so turgid that in the end I just got really grumpy all the time because I could never feel like I could do anything. So now, like I said, the others realise that. I mean, if they disagree, they disagree. And so, I mean, I'm not sort of like dictatorial to the degree where anything I say goes. There's more of them than there are of me. But if I say we're going to get up at 6 o'clock tomorrow morning and do a photo session, they'll say no, we won't be there. There's nothing in the world I can do about it. So I say, all right, and what time do you want to be? You know. So it's more like that. But I suppose the decisions, like the final decisions on artwork or production, they leave up to me. But the most important part of the group is actually making the music, and whether it be in the studio or on stage, it's that side of it that everyone has an equal input into, which is why it's better as a group. If it was me and the group, I would even get down to the point of saying, no, play it like this, you know, and if it got to that stage, the whole thing would become redundant. I mean, when we're on stage, you play what you want, and that's why it's a group. And if you don't like what the others are playing, you're not in the group, you know, you leave the group. And that's what you miss if you're like a solo performer. That's the part I'd miss. Also like the camaraderie I'd miss as well.
You're so gorgeous, I'll do anything. I'll kiss you from your feet to where your head begins. You're so perfect, you're so right as rain. You make me hungry again. Everything you do is irresistible. Everything you do is irresistible.
With this record, because of the advent of CD and being able to put at least an hour of music onto a CD, that was the one thing that we started working on this record with that in mind, that it would actually be an hour long. And we've never done that before. With the Kiss Me album, we thought it might be a double album if we want it to be. We didn't really have any strong feelings about it. But with this one, I definitely wanted like an hour to allow us to be able to do like 8 or 9 minute songs, which we've never been able to do before. It would have been great to have had CD format around the time of Faith, so we could have stretched things a lot more. So I envisaged a record which had a couple of quite long, strong, atmospheric pieces. I find it a bit weird looking back, so I can't really listen to a lot of the stuff we do, and I find it quite difficult to play some of the songs on stage as well. We very rarely do things like Siamese Twins, because it's sort of like rereading diaries that they're not very happy, really. There was a period around that time which I don't dwell on too much. It wasn't very much fun.
What's big and It's the Big Show.
There was a very definite sense after we'd done the Three Imaginary Boys album, which was like incredibly lightweight, and I hated it as soon as we'd done it, that 17 Seconds Faith and Pornography, to pull off like a project like that, which like spanned almost 3 years, and we were pretty morose anyway, but we were quite funny. But I realised that to pull it off, we couldn't allow ourselves to be seen as doing it in a half-hearted way, and so we like threw ourselves into the whole. I don't know, almost like a lifestyle, and it was like a vicious circle. And it reached the point after Pornography when I suddenly found that we weren't having any fun anymore, and it just seemed pointless because we were only doing it by that point. We were only doing it for other people, and like Simon left the group, and the whole thing just fell apart. And I thought the only way to inject some life back into the idea of it was to do something so totally ludicrous that people would actually be shocked by it. There was nothing more we could do. We couldn't shock people by it being any more, morose or downbeat. So we had to do something that people say that isn't the Cure, or like what drugs have they discovered? So that's where all that sort of pop stuff came from. But it was also when we started off as a pop band, but we didn't do it very well, and I just wanted to have a go at doing some proper pop songs.
Yeah.
I mean, Love Cats particularly, I thought was that turned out really well.
We move like cagey tigers, oh, we couldn't get closer than this. The way we walk, the way we talk, the way we stalk, the way we kiss. We slip through the streets while everyone sleeps, getting bigger and sleeker and wider and brighter. We bite and scratch and scream all night. Let's go and throw all the songs we know into the sea. You and me, all these years and no one heard. I'll show you in spring this treacherous thing we miss you. Kiss the love cats. We miss the love cats.
With the Cure, you've got to look at it like we've had like a very long ongoing relationship, because I've actually been working with Robert for about 8 years, which I think must be a record actually. It must be the longest monogamous relationship, and then that's true, between a video director or a filmmaker and a group, because I think videos only really began in about 79, right? And then I started working with Robert in 81, which is about 8 years ago, which is ridiculous really.
It's much easier working with him. As with each time we do something. Yeah, I mean, I understand his sort of shorthand way of talking now, which I didn't at first. It used to worry me.
It's like we do sort of know how each other thinks, really, because like he'll say to me, literally, the conversation will be da da da, and then I'll go, and then what I do is I come back to him, and I've sort of storyboarded the thing out. It's like when we did that video on the wardrobe, which a lot of people liked. All he said to me was claustrophobia and wardrobe, right? And then I went away and put the actual story together. But then you see, if people trust you, then you come up with something better, I think, anyway, don't you?
House with this. I made myself so sick. I'm so sleep today. I never thought of staying. I never thought tonight would ever be this close to me. But if I had your face, then I could make it safe and clean. Oh, if only I was sure that my head on the door was a dream.
The way I think of it is I'm not a babysitter, so I certainly don't get into that mentality of pandering to people's egos. But with someone like Robert, it's great, and all the rest of the Cure, because they'll do anything, sort of thing. They're not proud at all, so they'll do anything. So there's no problems at all, really.
Basically, he tries to put us through as much hardship and pain as possible in his video.
He has his list of things, and it's really weird how they quite often coincide. Like we had very, very similar thoughts about this film, which is good. His are obviously more aimed at causing me extreme discomfort. I say a bed, and he goes, "Oh yeah, I agree with you, a bed," and then I arrive and it's a bed of nails. You know,
my favourite Cure one actually would be In Between Days, which is different because most people like Close to Me, but I really like In Between Days because it's sort of wild and catches a really great spirit, I think.
Yesterday I got so old, I felt like I could die. Yesterday I got so old, it made me want to cry. Go on, just walk away. Go on, your choice is made. Go on, disappear. Go on, away from here. And I know I was wrong when I said it was true, that it couldn't be me and me or in between without you. Without you.
You're talking about two sort of ultimate video bands in my mind, one of which would obviously be Talking Heads, I think, because they're like the American branch of it, and then you've got The Cure over here. Every video director in London wants to do The Cure, but I'm doing them.
This one is like, it's focused really down hard on what I'm doing, so he's much more worried about what I'm doing on camera than he would be like in Fascination Street. He's more worried about the overall mood, the lighting, the smoke, the wind. You know, it's like.
You're a closet actor?
I'm like, no, I really, really hate it. It's the worst part of being in the group, doing the videos. I squirm.
This one's going to be literally right inside Robert's mouth. I like that, you know.
How are you doing that?
Well, I've got this thing called an endoscope, so I'm literally going to track the camera into Robert's mouth, so it should be fun. He doesn't know where it's been either.
Spider-Man comes softly through the shadow of the evening sun, stealing past the windows of the blissfully dead, looking for the vintage shivering bed, searching out fear in the gathering gloom, and suddenly moving in the corner of the room.
I genuinely feel that each time we go in the studio, it'll be the last record we make. I mean, if I didn't think that, they would never turn out right. Usually, if we're in the middle of doing something, I wish that this time next year I wasn't doing anything. If I'm not doing anything, I wish this time next year we were doing something. So a lot of it just depends on what time I got up that day.
And his tongue in my eyes, still becoming quiet now, my precious boy. Don't struggle like that, I will only love you. But it's much too late to get away. Turn on the light. The Spider-Man is having you for dinner tonight. And I feel like I'm being eaten by 1,000 raging, shivering, furry holes. Right in the morning, I'll wake up in the shivering cold. And the Spider-Man is always hungry.
Well, in about 30 minutes from now, we'll take a look at Dennis Quaid, who, of course, is one of the hottest actors around today.
Indoor, next on Bravo.